Okay.
Okay, we are live.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Community Board 10 General Meeting. Today is December 19th, 2022. We are able to meet this evening on our Zoom, and we will begin our meeting with our Pledge of Allegiance. We'll just wait a moment as our flag comes up. If I can ask you all to please stand to salute and to pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. The first item will be an adoption of the agenda. Josephine, I will need your help because we just need to get a gallery view
Okay, there we
so
go.
that we can have an adoption of the agenda. I think I see
Joe?
Diane and Dean.
Joe,
Okay, thank you. All in favor? May we just raise our hands, or would you like us to raise the icons?
That's
Josephine?
fine.
Raise hand. Great,
Okay, I see everyone's hands. Very good.
thank you. Next, we will have an adoption of the minutes. May I have a motion for the adoption of the minutes?
Joe,
Okay,
Joe,
no,
and then I see Julie. All in favor?
everyone's in favor.
Thank you so much. We will now begin our public session. And Josephine, I will ask you if you could please then call upon those who have signed up or put in the chat that they'd like to speak during the public session.
Yes, sure. So our first speaker, Assemblywoman Matilda Frontis, does have another appointment, so we're going to call upon her first. Assemblywoman?
Thank you so much, Josephine. And I always feel very guilty when I have to speak and run, but I'm actually on my way to meet with some folks tonight here in the neighborhood, but I'm still at the office. And I wanted to wish everybody a happy holidays. You know, everyone you speak to this week is getting ready to meet up with their family, and happy Hanukkah to all those that are celebrating. I wanted to say it's been an absolute joy, honor, and privilege to represent all of you in the 46 while I've had this opportunity for the last few years. And if anyone wants to stay in touch, or if you need anything these final days, because my team and I are here for you until December 31st. You should feel free to call us. You can come by, or you can email us at helpad46@gmail.com. So I wanted you to know that we're still here. We're going to be here until the last day, and feel free to reach out to us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have Nancy Lulu from District Attorney Eric Gonzalez's office. Nancy?
Hi, good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. I bring greetings on behalf of DA Gonzalez to everyone. Our office has been really active, very busy. Keeping the people of Brooklyn safe is the DA's highest priority. Just a couple of announcements. The Brooklyn District Attorney's Office is holding a toy drive, so we're still accepting toys. Any donations would be greatly appreciated. They could be mailed or dropped off to 350 J Street. We're also having a coat drive. We're accepting new or gently worn coats. All coats will be donated to asylum seekers in need. Please call 718-250-3888 to arrange for a drop-off. Additionally, we're having a suit drive, so donate your lightly worn professional attire to those in need through December 31st. And also call the same number, 718-250-3888. To arrange a drop-off. And lastly, I would like to report that the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office, along with the NYPD, hosted a gun buyback event this past Saturday, December 17th, at the Cornerstone Baptist Church in Bedford-Stuyvesant, that resulted in the most surrendered firearms. A total of 206 firearms were turned in by residents who received up to $500 and an iPad. Saturday's event was the third gun buyback event to be held in Brooklyn this year. In total, we received 315 firearms and that are now off the streets of Brooklyn. And also, as always, I like to remind everyone with our Action Center's phone number, if there's a matter or concern you would like to address with our office, to call 718-250-2340. And I would like to conclude by extending best wishes and a joyous holiday season to everyone on behalf of DA Gonzalez, and to thank Community Board 10 for all that you do. Thank you so very much. Have a lovely evening and happy holidays.
Thank you. Next, we have our State Senator, Andrew Gennardis.
Thank you. Thanks, Josephine. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all. I know for many of us, it's a really sad note because of the passing of our former chair, Joanne. And I mean, I think we all know how we feel about her and her service to this community. Certainly, she meant so much to me, and she did so much for me in my own career, and she will be sorely missed. You know, very, very saddened by that, as I know many of us are. It's just tough, I think, around this time for us to kind of process that and accept that. But I did want to just to pop in and say a quick hello, because once January gets here and the legislative session is in full swing, the meeting schedule often coincides with my time up in Albany. I don't know the next time I'll be able to be here with you in person or be able to hop on. So I wanted just to come on quickly, give you guys a quick updates, and obviously share best wishes for the holidays. A couple of things I'll highlight. Number one, we had a meeting, and I'm sure Josephine might mention this later as well. We've been working, my office, Justin's, Josephine's, on the valet parking issue at Positano's on 101st Street and 4th Avenue, that the valet has basically taken over the entire traffic lane and just parked cars there in the crosswalks, in the traffic lane. Huge safety hazard, huge public safety issue. They were non-responsive for about a year, I would say. The police commissioner's office got involved in this case. Actually, we held a meeting at the community board office last week with the owners, with the management, where they have promised to turn things around. We will hold them fully accountable for that. You better believe it. So that's kind of what something that we've been working on locally. The other issue, which I know was a subject for you guys last month, and I'm sorry I couldn't join you. I know you asked me to come and talk a bit about the cannabis enforcement. You know, one of the stores in Bay Ridge was raided by the 68th precinct. They seized a lot of product, a lot of money, all of it illegal. I know there's a couple other shops that we're trying to push for enforcement on. This has been an issue across the entire city. It's in every neighborhood, these stores that are popping up, you know, without licenses and without any legal product. We were originally of the view that in the legalization bill that there were sufficient enforcement mechanisms in place to handle these situations, which we could foresee. But of course, now that we're in the implementation phase and some of the agencies that are primarily responsible for enforcement, everyone's kind of doing the, oh, not me, it's that guy's job. So we are, whether it's between the PD, the sheriff, or the Office of Cannabis Management, we are pushing everyone to crack down on these illegally operating vendors, while at the same time, we are looking for additional ways to strengthen the existing cannabis legislation to make it very clear how enforcement needs to go. Oh, hey there, buddy. You want to come say hi? You want to say hi? No? Okay. So that's something that we're going to be working on in the new year and really looking forward to seeing that implemented, because the whole point of legalization was A, that you have legal product, and B, that you'd be able to regulate it. And you know where it was coming from and who was selling it and what it was like. You want to come say hi? Here, come say hi. Say hi to Daddy's friend. Say hi. Say hi. No CoComelon. Daddy's in the meeting, okay? And also, if you're going to have this product be legal, to get the tax revenue from it. And stores that are operating illegally, whether it's in a storefront or in a van like they were in Times Square, none of those things can exist. So want to make sure we do this right and we do it smartly. So that's something else we're going to continue to push on. And the last thing I'll highlight is a couple weeks ago, I introduced a new bill that I'm very excited about. It's called the Working Families Tax Credit Bill Act. And this is it's based on we're working on with a statewide coalition. Many of you know that under the American Rescue Plan, Congress authorized an expanded child tax credit of up to $3,600 per child for eligible families. And they paid it out monthly so that families that were qualified for the tax credit could get the money in hand sooner to let them buy food, clothes, school supplies, you name it. Really fundamental things for families. The program lasted 6 months before the pilot expired. In that 6 months, 3 million kids in this country were lifted out of poverty in 6 months. This was like a game changer in terms of addressing the deepest poverty we have in this country. So I've introduced legislation modeled on the success of the federal program, but at the state level, to increase the existing state child tax credit and pay it out quarterly. We can't do it more than that because then we trigger federal tax liability. But we estimate that with this proposal, if enacted as proposed, we could reduce child poverty in New York by 20%, just under 20%, which is pretty significant. So it's something that's going to be a big priority for me in the next budget season, which will be due by March, focusing on the child tax credit, focusing on saving the MTA, because the MTA is facing a huge fiscal cliff that we have to make sure that we are keeping it afloat, and changing how we finance the MTA so we don't lurch from crisis to crisis every couple of years, which is what's been happening, every couple of years from now, as well as making sure that all of the money that we put in the budget last year for things like public safety and mental health are actually getting deployed properly. In last year's state budget, we paid for the expansion of 800 in-house psychiatric beds to help address the mental health crisis in the state. Not a single bed has been opened yet. That's a huge problem. We put the money in the budget because we recognize that this was a problem, but the state has not moved to open up a single bed yet. So we want to make sure that the monies we are allocating are actually getting where they need to go and doing the job that we are saying the money has to be used for. So that's kind of on my to-do list for now. I'm happy to take a question or two if you have time for it. Otherwise, you guys know where to find us.
Where's the YouTube? What is that all about?
Which one?
Up here, what's this all about?
Sorry about that.
Don't know if that was meant for me, but no.
No. Larry's having some computer issues. Thank you. Okay. So
okay.
Jane? I don't see any questions, Senator. So Jane, we'll move on to our next speaker is Councilman Justin Brannan.
Thank you, Josephine. Thank you, Jane. It's good to see everybody. I'm glad that we have the Zoom option so we can still meet and everyone can still stay safe. Echoing obviously what Senator Gennard has said and what I'm sure a lot of folks are going to talk about tonight, losing Joanne Seminara is very, very tough. Someone who, one of the first people I really got to know when I started getting involved locally and learning from her and just her warmth and being at her wake over the weekend, seeing how many people there that had similar stories about Joanne and how she planted these seeds really all over the neighborhood for folks who are leaders today and really the next generation of leaders. And I think that's a legacy that we all could really just dream about. The fact that that legacy really lives on. So losing her is really tough for our neighborhood, obviously for her family and for me personally. But I really just wanted to stop by and say Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. This year went very quickly. We got a lot of good stuff done. A lot of stuff that we will highlight in the weeks to come in our year in review. Been able to bring back close to $100 million to our district and investments in our parks and playgrounds and new public schools. Also just, focusing on planting seeds for trees whose shade we may never enjoy, and those long-term investments in the community, not only the stuff that we do today and tomorrow, but stuff for months and years and generations to come. And I also just want to mention mental health this time of year. I think you see on TV that it looks like everything is peaches and cream and money is no obstacle and everyone has what they want on TV and everyone is smiling and Christmas is great and the holidays are fantastic. We all know that that's sometimes not true and everyone can be sort of silently struggling with the burden that they have. So I think it's important to be patient with each other during the holiday season and not to forget that, you know, we all want COVID to be in the rearview mirror, but we're definitely living through a very uncertain time and we've never dealt with something like this before and the reverberations of it. So just in that holiday spirit, just being patient with one another and looking out for each other, checking in on your neighbors, especially seniors, making sure that they've got food, they've got everything they have, and just that they have company and someone to check in on them this time of year, I think is very important. So thank you, Community Board 10. You guys are amazing volunteers, and you know the work that you do and the foundation that you give for this neighborhood, it doesn't go unnoticed. And I appreciate your partnership, and we're all in this together. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, everybody. I hope everyone has a great holiday season. And thanks for having me tonight, and I'll see you next year.
I do see a question from Lori Willis.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, I was just saying hi, Lori. I'm sorry.
I was just waving.
Oh,
Saying, he
okay.
said bye, see you next year.
Oh, bye.
Waving
I
at
saw your
Justin.
hand raised.
Thanks, guys. Love you all. Merry Christmas.
Okay. Next, we have Jessica Callow from the Borough President's Office. Jessica?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. First, of course, my office wants to extend their condolences about Joanne. She was so kind to me, and as I'm sure everybody's already heard me say 10 times over, I'm always so grateful when anybody at CB10 was kind to me when I first started. So she was one of them, and it's a great loss for the community. Separately, I want to remind everybody that community board applications are open. If you're up for reappointment, please reapply. If you don't know, I'm sure Dorothy's already told you or yelled at you a bunch of times to do your application. I'm working with Dorothy to confirm everybody's application, so she's patiently waiting for me on that. Also, if you're not on the board and you're listening tonight, we want to interview you. We want you to apply. CB10 gets a lot of applications, so very small amount of seats, but we want to get everybody on there. And other than that, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So Jane, that's all of the people who let us know they wanted to speak in advance. I do see we have representatives from Assembly Member Tanusis, Basil Kapitanakis. I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Assemblyman. I will leave our office address and number in the chat in case anyone has any questions before the new year comes to a conclusion. And we'll see you in the new year. Hope you guys have a happy holidays.
Thank you. And next we also have with us, let's see.
What are you doing? Can't do it low.
Oh. Donald DeRosa from the Controller's Office.
Well, why is
Nothing from me, just happy holidays, everyone, and best of the new year.
Thank you very much. Okay, Jane, I think that concludes our public session.
Okay, thank you very much, Josephine. The first item we have up for our public hearing is we're going to hear about a new SLA application. I believe Chris Ellison will be doing that, Josephine, am I correct?
Correct.
That's
All
correct.
right, so please welcome Chris. Thank you.
Good evening. The Police and Public Safety Committee met on December 13th, about 7 p.m. We met via Zoom and there was a quorum. This is a new SLA liquor application for DRG BKNY Incorporated, doing business as Daddy-O's BBQ. The premise is 9226 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, 11209. This is a new on-premise liquor application. The applicant, Mr. Greg Fosdale, appeared before the committee as the manager. His attorney, Mr. Nicholas Mokia, was not present. The owner, Miriam Paz, was not present.
Makes sense.
The premise will operate as a restaurant and a sports bar with only background music. Hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. There will not be any outdoor dining, and the maximum number of persons to occupy the premise is anticipated to be approximately 70. The applicant states that he will not use a DJ. There is a certificate of occupancy dated June 15th, 1982. After a discussion period, the committee's decision is to deny the applicant unless the applicant agrees to the following stipulations. The premise will operate as a restaurant. There will be no sale or consumption of alcohol on the premise until the appropriate license is issued by the SLA. The applicant will not serve or allow BYOB until a license is obtained. The owner manager will be on site during all hours of operation. The hours of operation will be 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The applicant will not sublet the premise. The doors shall remain closed with any amplified music. There will not be any outdoor use. The establishment shall not sponsor or use any promoter or have promoted events. There will be no smoking permitted. There will be at least 20% visibility view into the establishment and eye level. The applicant agrees that should it change its method of operation, it will give notice and meet with the community board committee at least 45 days in advance of any such change. The applicant has agreed to the stipulation. The committee met in quorum and the vote was unanimously in favor. Does anybody have any questions?
Barbara Vellucci has her
Yes,
hand
Barbara.
raised. You're on mute, Barbara.
I'm getting stuck. Yeah, I think one of the stipulations you said that there was no BYOB until the license. You can't have BYOB at all in New York State.
From what I understand, and I could be wrong, I think you're allowed to have BYOB when you do have a license and they do charge you a corking fee,
Yes.
establishments.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, I don't see any.
Okay, so we have the committee, you said you shared with us their motion and their vote.
Correct. And we did meet quorum.
Okay, so then we're able, thank you, Josephine has put the vote up for us all to please members.
In favor, Josephine.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Okay, so motion carries.
Thank you very much.
I'm in favor too. Larry, don't forget me.
Okay, I don't forget you, Larry. Thank you.
Camera doesn't work, so.
Okay, no worries.
And that's the end of our meeting.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much, Chris.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to the chair's report. So once again, good evening to our board members. As we gather this month, we are being responsive to the changing health guidance and have opted to pivot to a remote meeting in order for all of our members to participate fully while monitoring their own well-being during this tridemic. We value the input of all members and appreciate that technology allows us to be together even while we are apart. I know that you have all received communication from our district manager, Beckman, sharing the loss of our beloved former chair, Joanne Seminara, who was buried today. Joanne was a dedicated community advocate, and I have always found her to be an inspiration. After 26 years on the board, including being chair from 2010 to 2013, Joanne stepped down in 2019. For those of you who knew her and those who only knew of her, I wanted to share with you her moving and motivating words. So in her honor tonight, I ask you to listen to the words of Joanne Seminara from her last address to the board in March 2019. And this is what she had to say. It's truly been my privilege and pleasure to be part of this board and to serve for so long and have the experience of working with so many of you because you are dedicated. And together we've tackled every little bitty issue and big issue that affects all of us, affects our neighbors, no matter who they are and how long they've been here. And they deserve no less. And it's been kind of a part of my life to be involved, and I will always be involved. When I look back and remember some of the issues of yesteryear, I'll just mention a few because when I think back, it's so far back. And some of these issues were very political and controversial, like the one-way 3rd and 5th Avenues. Some of the wonderful things we did, like rezoning Diker Heights and fine-tuning the zoning for the Bay Ridge Special District. We planned Jane Marie School, which is an amazing, amazing and beautiful school. The Green Church left us, and we planned that beautiful facade that is now a school. Some of the really important things we did, remember the UA zoning fight was really tough and tough on a lot of us, really tough on a lot of us for lots of reasons. But we stood our ground and did and said what we believed in and worked together and remained friends and really got to know each other and serve this community. And I'm proud of that. I also remember the people that are not here because 26 years ago, this board started with people like Ed Hilbrand and Joe Keeler. Remember Mary Sempepos and Denise Berg, and remember John DiMartini and Basil Kapitanakis and Arthur Schack. These are all the people that came before, and I think of myself as standing on their shoulders in this community because they kind of built the platform on which we are still working. I'm most proud about the open nature of this meeting, and I'm very moved by the people who come and talk about their problems because they feel they can do that and they know that we will listen. And in this time of strife throughout the world, it's very important to me that this board remain inclusive of everyone and that everyone, no matter their ethnicity or race or religion, whether they are here a day or whether they've been here for 4 years, that they call this place home and that we respond to them. So that's kind of what I hope part of my legacy is, because I really believe in continuing the openness of the community and have been very proud to stand with you for that. I'm very conscious of the fact that even the small decisions that we make have an incredible impact on people's lives. Traffic calming, the way the traffic moves, whether people can cross the street depends on safety. Whether kids are safe in school depends on safety. And we'll never know the impact of our decision-making. Hopefully, it's for the best. We're designing parks. We're giving advice to the city every year and telling them what our priorities are that affects us and our neighbors, and it is what we do. I'm really, really proud of the staff of this board. I've known Dorothy and Joe for so many years, and it was such a pleasure to serve as the chair with you behind me and having my back at all times. Your collective knowledge is unbelievable, and I dare say Joe Beckman is second to none in the city of New York. I dare say it because I know it. She's incredible. She's been here for 15 years. It seems like forever, but she knows the history. If you need a zoning resolution or you need to know what happened on a particular street, she'll have it in like 2 minutes. And that just adds so much to the effectiveness of what we do. So I just want to end by reading something that I read, paraphrasing something that I read that someone else wrote, but I wanted to say it to all of you. The city very much needs us at a time like this because we demonstrate the values and the desires that we all have in common. Our community involvement in the professional work that we do, in your very presence here. You bring your stories and your traditions to the tapestry of this city and country. And you're not only exercising this right, which we all have, but you come bearing the gift of your experience. and people come to us with the gift of their experience, and we make decisions based on that gift. And that is my lasting word to you. Let us pause for a brief moment of silence. Thank you, Joanne Seminara, for the gift of your service and for helping to weave the beautiful tapestry of this city. It is our privilege to stand on your shoulders and to carry on your legacy in Community Board 10. Respectfully submitted, Jane Marie Kapitanakis. Thank you. And now we go on to our district manager's report.
Thank you, Jane. That was absolutely heartfelt tribute to Joanne Seminara. I know for those of us who work closely with us, and as you know, there's a special relationship between chair and DM for all that have served as chair. You know, in reflection, the last few days, I've really thought about how much Joanne meant to me professionally and personally. Her commitment to this board was just astounding. I recall the first week after she was elected as chair, she called to set up a meeting with me, and she said, we're going to set one day each week together. We're going to have a coffee hour and we're going to go over everything. And we had the lists out, and she wanted to individually write notes to every board member because she was just so excited to begin her work. And all of you who are volunteers truly give of yourself here to serve this community, to make it a better place to live, work, and to raise a family. And I am so grateful to all of you. And thinking today about Joanne Seminara, I went back and looked at my district manager report from our last meeting together when she served as chair. And as I reflect, I also want to thank Joanne Seminara for her accessibility, her attention, her responsiveness to residents' concern, for her leadership during her term, for each of her years as chair, for always being there for me with advice and direction, talking through many issues that need responses. Joanne really loves to do that personal touch and write little notes on letters and send emails regularly. She truly enjoyed her service, and I learned so much from her. I want to share with all of you that she had an unbelievable enthusiasm, energy, and spirit of community, and she will be missed, but her legacy will carry on with us here and in our community. So thank you to Joanne, and we will really miss her. So I want to share with board members now, moving on. There is a lovely young college aide that CB10 has the privilege of working with now, and she is on this meeting. Her name is Ashley Go. Ashley was a summer intern here through the DYCD Ladders for Leaders program, and I'm happy to say that she started a few weeks ago. And maybe she just wants to wave hello. Ashley, are you still on here? I said I would formally introduce her. Hi, Ashley. So if you call the district office, she's here one day a week. And when she has school break, she'll be here for a few more days a week. And we're happy to have her. She's a student at a freshman at Hunter College. I also want to share with board members that this is December, and Diker Lights has been, frankly, a very busy season this year, as it has in last years. The district office, along with Councilman Brannan's office, have met with the CECM unit to coordinate the interagency work to deal with traffic control and some of the vending issues. The 68th precinct, thanks to Patrol Borough Brooklyn South, once again provided additional patrol officers and resources to address traffic control and pedestrian safety issues. The NYPD has also put a light tower at the intersection of on 86th Street at 12th Avenue for pedestrian safety. There is a bus tour, a tour bus drop-off on 86th Street. And the district office receives many calls each year as neighbors still remain upset about the tour buses, traffic congestion, and the noise and fumes from vending trucks. We had an on-site meeting last Friday. I was present. Unfortunately, despite the fact that there was legislation passed to create a no vending zone, there was a loophole that if there's a veteran on the ice cream truck, they cannot be moved by NYPD. And there have been additional corner baskets and they've been cleaned each day. There's collection once a day. So we're going to continue to monitor. We've asked for continued interagency inspections in response to community complaints, and we plan to have an interagency meeting in January to reflect on this year's planning. I also wanted to share with board members that the Office of Technology and Information has written to the board. They have a program where they're installing kiosks within residential areas. They have 4 proposed for Community District 10. So we're a bit concerned about that because the board in prior years have voted not to have public paid telephones or the kiosks within the residential district. So we will be meeting on this topic to review it in January at the Communications Committee. I haven't even mentioned it yet to Henry because it's that new. So we'll look for that in January. Also in the month of January, looking ahead, on January 12th, we scheduled an in-person education meeting to review a new site selection for a new school at the former site of the St. Nicholas Home on Ovington Avenue. So you will be seeing that. That will be an in-person meeting at the Bay Ridge Center at 7 p.m. And I just want to, on behalf of the district office staff, on behalf of Dorothy and Josephine Labrano, we would like to wish all of you celebrating a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a healthy and prosperous New Year. And our next general board meeting will take place on Monday, January 23rd, 2023. I can't even believe it. That will be in 2023, and the location will yet to be determined. So I will email that as soon as we have it. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you so much. All right, next we move on to our treasurer's report. Is Shirley Chin on here?
Shirley? She was here. Jane, I do not see Shirley.
Okay.
Do you want me to read her report? Let me see.
If you could, thank you so much. I know we've had a few people with some technical issues, and as we know, sometimes that does happen.
Yes. Okay, so Community Board 10's Treasury Report as of November 30th, 2022, total personal services, $90,513.16. Total other than personal services is $3,002.81, leaving an unencumbered budget balance of $174,075.01.
Thank you so much.
Submitted.
Thank you so much, Josephine. And now we move on to our committee reports. And first up, we have the Parks Committee. So Diane Gennardis, will you be having that this evening?
Yes, I have it.
Excellent.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
I want to first echo what everyone else has shared with Joanne. May her memory be eternal. She was an incredible individual, and we were so lucky to be able to interact with her, and we're thankful for all that she did for us. So may her memory be eternal. The Parks Committee, the members of the Parks Committee met in quorum on November 29th at 7 p.m. to approve an application for the naming of the Shore Road Dog Run in memory of Frank DeCavalier. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. We were joined by Chris Clay from the Parks Department, as well as Liz and Michael DeCavalier, the children of the deceased. Frank was a happily retired man who had just begun to enjoy his golden years. He loved dotting over his newly adopted puppy. And on the night of March 5th, 2020, he took his dog for her evening walk through Cannonball Park, like he did every day. After she ran herself tired, he started his way back home on the dark but safe streets near 101st Street. As he started to cross back from Cannonball Park, a teenager speeding in his parents' Mercedes peeled off 4th Avenue and began accelerating down the block to avoid a soon-to-be red light. Before Frank knew what was happening, the teenager swerved into the other lane to dodge a double-parked car and hit him full speed and killed Mr. DeCavalier. He was killed on the spot. His dog was sent flying out of her harness, yet was able to find her way home and alert Mrs. DeCavalier that something terrible had happened. The intersection where Frank was killed has long since been a trouble spot for pedestrians. For years, the community has complained about vehicles speeding through the area, treating the area near the intersection as an extended ramp for the Belt Parkway. There have been 41 crashes between 2018 and 2020 in the 2 blocks lead up to where Frank was killed. In response to tweets from State Senator Andrew Gennardis and City Councilman Justin Brannan about the accident, locals told their own stories about near misses at or near the intersection. Many expressed frustration that nothing had been done about the dangerous crossing. In response to renewed concerns about the intersection following Frank's death, several speed cameras have been introduced in the area. The DeCavalier family was encouraged to submit an application to have the dog run on Shore Road named for their father. The family members in attendance were given the opportunity to share their thoughts and appreciation for our consideration in naming the dog run in memory of their father. A motion was made by Dan Heddix and seconded by Chris Ellison to approve the application. The motion passed unanimously. The meeting was adjourned at 7:25 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Diane Gennardis. So we met in quorum. And is there any discussion on the motion?
Okay. I do not see any hands up for discussion, so we have the motion on the floor. They met in quorum, and Josephine, I think you're getting that poll ready for us.
Yes. There we
Thank
go.
you so much. So if our members could please vote.
Josephine in favor.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, motion carries unanimous.
And I'd also like to wish everyone a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. Healthy and safe for everyone.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to mention that a family member was in attendance tonight.
Thank you so much.
I believe both Michael and Liz were on the call, on the Zoom.
Yes, we really appreciate Community Board 10, the Park Community, Councilman Brennan, and really everyone who's made this possible, and just all the continued support through all this. And so I had to take myself off camera, but this is just really special for our family. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are so sorry for your loss, and we appreciate that this is a way to honor the gift of your father's life. Thank you. And next, we will move on to our Traffic and Transportation Committee report, and that is an informational report. Is Anthony Marino on tonight with that?
Oh. I thought I saw him. Okay. I don't see him, Jane.
Okay,
Let me see.
so maybe we can go to the next committee report and come back to him if he comes back on.
Okay,
What would that be?
perfect.
Okay, so while we are waiting for Anthony to come back on, may I ask if the zoning and land use committee report, will that be Doris taking that this month?
Yes, that's
All right,
Doris.
welcome back, Doris. If we could ask Doris Cruz to please unmute and to share her report.
Thank you. The committee met in quorum on November 30th. The first item on the agenda was an application for a perimeter fence at 435 Bay Ridge Parkway. This is a landmark block, so any alteration needs to be approved by the Landmarks Preservation Committee. The board would ask to review the application for a fence at that site. This is a landmark block. So it must be approved. So any changes must be approved. And this is the first time that CB10 has been asked to review an application for a landmark property. The houses on that block did not originally have fences. But tax photos from the 1940s show several houses with fences. The owner wants to install a fence to make a safe outdoor space for his child and to separate the entrance to the physical therapy office in the basement. The district office reached out to neighbors for comment and there were no objections. The committee raised questions about what is our role, and it was decided that a fence is consistent with the other houses and there were questions about the design. A motion was made to approve the application for a fence, but to leave any questions about the design up to the LPC, Landmarks Preservation Committee. The motion was approved. Josephine, we were under the impression that we had to vote on this, but subsequent to the meeting, Josephine learned that it can be handled internally by LPC. Am I correct?
That's correct.
So it was an interesting discussion, and we learned a lot. But it's one of those another vote that goes nowhere. But at least we know more about the process, and it was very interesting to learn that.
Yes.
So although we have a motion, although the committee voted, we don't have to proceed with the motion unless you want to. Okay, thank you. The second item on the agenda was a presentation by the Department of City Planning on zoning text amendments. The city has developed a concept, New York City, the city of yes. The goal is to remove red tape that the administration feels is impeding its goals of making changes to achieve three things: carbon neutrality, economic opportunity, and housing opportunity. The administration believes they can accomplish this through changes in zoning, and it plans to introduce zoning text amendments in the next 15 months. I'm only introducing the areas of focus tonight. Details are to follow. We did have discussions, and committee members, I have my notes and I have all your discussions. But as a holiday present for you, we won't go through 2 pages of notes. And, so the first item is carbon neutrality. The aims are to reduce energy needs, create a clean grid, and electrify buildings and vehicles. Some ideas are to reduce obstacles, to add solar panels on roof, and to add rain gardens and bioswales. The city plans to address this phase in early 2023. The committee will be meeting in January to start work on this issue. We need to do our homework, guys. We're good at it. Economic opportunity. The administration's goals are to simplify rules to allow space to be repurposed to support the growth of jobs and to allow the flexibility of use in commercial zones. And they're really looking to boost small businesses with this initiative. And the third option is housing opportunities. Our city has a housing crisis. The administration says that every neighborhood must allow growth, must allow additional housing. They are considering permitting smaller units to eliminate parking requirements and to give supporting housing the same zoning advantages as affordable senior housing. The city expects to introduce this in early 2024. As the zoning and land use reviews these issues, concerns and details will be presented to you. And Zalak may need assistance from other committees on these issues. So Zalak members, we look forward to seeing one another early next year. Respectfully submitted, Doris Cruz.
Thank you so much, Doris. Josephine, may I ask if Anthony is on yet? I don't.
So Jane, he is not on, but during, actually got an email with his report. So I'm happy to read it. Let's go through it really quickly on his behalf.
Thank you. I do see that Dean's hand is up. I don't know if that was as a question for Doris. I just wanted to follow up.
It's probably more for Josephine. You know, we're always talking about every mayor, you know, we're gonna build 100,000 new apartments over 10 years. Joe, my question is this. I tried online, I was not successful. Is there a way of finding out for specific time periods, how many new units have actually been added? I mean, obviously we do lose some units, but is there a way of actually finding out?
That is a very good question, and I would think that the Department of City Planning would have that information. So if it's not on their website, I think we can certainly ask. That's a great question.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Traffic and Transportation Committee report on behalf of board member and chair of that committee, Anthony Marino. Good evening. The Traffic and Transportation Committee met in quorum on Zoom on December 5th. We had the Department of Transportation present an update on the interim repairs on the BQE. Jonine Kidder introduced herself and the team, and they began the presentation. The BQE project overview. Safety is the #1 priority. The New York City DOT and outside engineering partners C2 Smart are closely tracking the city-owned structure to ensure we stay ahead of potential safety issues. In-person inspections by DOT engineers, quarterly visual inspections detect any localized cracking, concrete spalling, steel erosion, and other visible flags. There is constant monitoring via sensors and specialized instruments to monitor changes, global stiffness, and vibrations. They have truck weight monitoring. Weight in motion technology provides real-time measurement of truck loads. Automated enforcement starting by early 2023. Analysis and modeling. DOT and outside engineering partners are using data from monitoring to assess structure's current condition and to model its future condition. The components require immediate attention. Addressing immediate needs will allow us to maintain traffic flow. Components requiring immediate attention. Span 34, which is Clark Street fan plant. Span 4 is Grace Court, on Geralman Street. The Clark Street fan plant structural repair inside the chamber that houses the fan plant. Work is concurrent with planned BQE closures. There is coordination with MTA, which owns the fan plant. The challenges of the BQE repair. It will require traffic agents at key intersections. DOT is encouraging alternate modes of transportation where possible during those closures. They're going to do outreach to the press, pedestrian managers at key locations, VMS signage informing travelers of closures and detours, adjustments to lane configurations, turn restrictions at select intersections, emergency services stationed at BBP, coordination with the fire department, NYPD, and EMS, noise mitigation, sound blankets and monitoring sound levels, and dust mitigation. So the BQE interim repair schedule consists of information distribution. New York City DOT will develop and distribute tailored information materials, including project one-pagers, presentations, brochures, construction updates, and distribute them in a variety of ways, including through the department website, mass electronic mailings, media posts. The last quarter of 2021 is the completion of contract documents. The first quarter of 2023 is contract award and NTP. So the preparation work for the weekend work will be at night. They will remove deteriorated concrete, add steel plates for support and preparation. There will be no daytime work. 2-level highway restricts access to shift traffic during congestion. The first weekend closures, full closure of all Queensbound lanes with BQE traffic to exit at Atlantic Avenue. 1 lane to be open in the Staten Island bound direction. Closures will be between 2 a.m. on Saturday to Monday at 4 a.m. The second and third weekend closures, there will be a full closure of all Queensbound lanes with remaining BQE traffic to exit at Atlantic Avenue. All travel lanes on the Staten Island bound direction will be open. Closures here too for the second and third weekend will be Saturday 2 a.m. to Monday 4 a.m. Weekend closures, there will be 3 in total between March and October of 2023. And we just briefly discussed mitigation measures and mitigations measures during closures, and DOT is going to be closely monitoring and be in touch with the elected officials and community board offices with any questions or concerns. And that's it. Respectfully submitted. Jane?
Okay. All right, thank you so much. Josephine, I see that we have a message in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you
Okay.
just double check? Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Councilmember Aviles is here. My
Yes.
apologies, I did not see that in the chat.
Yes, thank you. So welcome. She just wanted to greet everyone this evening.
Oh, hello, everyone. Apologies for the delay. I tried to get here earlier. Too many meetings, but I just wanted to first say thank you to Chair Kapitanakis and to District Manager Beckman for all their incredible work, and really to thank the whole board, right? It takes an incredible group of community volunteers to really dig into all these issues, right? On a volunteer basis every month. And sincerely, I just want to thank you all for the time and commitment that you spend at the board. You know, none of this works without your input and commitment. So truly just really want to express some thanks and appreciation. And many of you may know that renewals will be coming up next year. And so those applications are due February 14th. So not only if you're interested in renewing your appointment, but also bringing in new people onto the board, right? And extending and expanding our incredible democracy would be a wonderful thing. So I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself, y'all. My name is Alexa Aviles, and I'm the council member for District 38. And so I have a small portion of Community Board 10. And so just really happy to be here. I hope you have seen my staff has attended in my steed over the last several months. And I didn't want to take too much time because you're really in the middle of your meeting, but I wanted you to know, as you know, redistricting has happened and there will be new maps for all the city council districts that will be in place in early 2024. So the lines are changing, which means I think I may actually, if I am elected again, will be getting a larger part of Community Board 10. So more to come on that front. I just also wanted you to know that, you know, the council has been working really hard and really looking at the budget as we're coming into 2024. I will say the numbers are not looking good. You may have heard on the news, the forecasts are looking bleak, and the city has a good number of strain on it. And so we are spending a lot of time doing deep dives around what potential cuts would be coming down, how they would impact the community, where we can mitigate the most and fight for restoration and or expansion. Often we see in times of difficulty, economic difficulty, families are really needing significant amount of services and support. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has on anything that they've been hearing or thinking about. Feel free to reach out to our office. You can reach us at district38council.nyc.org. Feel free to call 718-439-9012. I hope that's the right number. And I would be happy to have, any conversation or discussion about what you're seeing happening in the community, what you would like to see moving forward, and to talk about anything that you think is important. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm so sorry to jump in the middle of your meeting. Really, I wish you all a happy holiday, lots of good food, joy, and safety for everyone. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for making the time to join in to our meeting and to Zoom in to us. We do appreciate the service of all of our electeds and that you make time to come to be in community with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll try to listen in as much as I can. Thank you.
Okay, Josephine, I do see Dean's hand
Yes,
is up.
I was on mute. I'm sorry. Yes, Dean
sorry.
has a hand raised.
Council member Dean Racine, you're here. Nice earrings. I like them.
Thank you very much.
Of Zoom. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll now move on to our last report is from Senior Issues, Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee. And Jana Tuvig is here with us tonight, I believe.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So the Senior Issues, Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee of CB10 met in quorum for a meeting via Zoom on December 1st, 2022 at 7:00 p.m. Members of the Youth Services, Education, and Libraries Committee were also in attendance. The meeting was live streamed on YouTube for those who could not access it via Zoom. With the rising number of unlicensed smoke shops and CB10 marketing tobacco, e-cigarettes, and cannabis products to minors within the CB10 community, many board members and community residents have raised their concerns. Many of these shops do not hold licenses to sell the products aforementioned, and often the marketing seen in these shops is tailored toward children, which is unacceptable. Though it is not our job as a community board to dictate what community members should or should not do, it is our responsibility that our community understands what the law is and that our community is informed of the harms of engaging in high-risk behavior. We especially see it to be important to educate the youth in our community on the effects of smoking on their development, both mentally and physically. As such, we held our first educational forum in a series of many more to come. Representatives from the NYC Smoke-Free Partnership were in attendance to provide a presentation and respond to questions. School representatives from local middle and high schools were invited, as well as community members. The PowerPoint presentation is available to community members upon request. The presentation focused on how NYC Smoke-Free focuses on community and youth engagement to reduce youth exposure to tobacco marketing and at the point of sale. The non-for-profit encourages voluntary adoption of smoke-free housing policies, expanding smoke-free air by reducing exposure to secondhand smoke, and working to eliminate pro-tobacco imagery from youth-rated movies and the internet. Included in the presentation was a quote by a British tobacconist and cigarette importer who was born in 1835 and died in 1873, named Philip Morris, who has said that today's teenager is tomorrow's potential regular customer. This is exactly why our focus is on our youth and their health. The earlier that an individual starts smoking, the more likely they are to become strongly addicted to nicotine. The presentation went on to explain that e-cigarettes are sometimes called e-cigs, vapes, e-hookahs, and vape pens. E-cigarette use has increased dramatically since they came to the market at about 168% increase from 2014. The startling part is that when asked what is in their e-cigarettes, many teens simply do not know, with 66% thinking it is just flavoring, others thinking it is just water vape, and only 13% of teens think that e-cigarettes have nicotine. With the trend of using such products on the rise, many solutions to address the issue were offered and have been put into practice, including meeting and working with local and state elected officials, participating in community events, collaborating with community boards, partnering with other organizations, and giving presentations at schools and clubs. Several questions were asked, including why there are not many anti-vaping advertisements available, and representatives responded that there must be an increase and that it takes much funding and time. Viewers also asked what the difference was between middle school and high school presentations, to which representatives responded that they are the same presentations, but the focus is typically on teens aged 13 to 18, and that they do not deny any middle school presentations upon request. There were several questions on the licensing of marijuana in particular. Unfortunately, updates on the guidelines and rules of such licenses have been few and vague. Through increasing conversations with our local precinct, our elected officials, and our community members, we hope to clarify and receive more concrete response on the management of cannabis products. Until then, we are committed to educating our community members on the harms of such products, especially to our youth. The Senior Issues Housing, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting ended about 8:00 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Jana Toby. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Jana.
Thank you so much. All right, and now we are up to checking if we have any old business to review. I'm not seeing any hands raised at this time. So then we will move to ask if we have any new business to share. I see Barbara
Lucci.
Hello, I'm one of those Dyker residents who, is involved with all of the chaos up here. And I just wanted to share with you that on Thursday evening, everyone on my block, and I'm in the like 77th between 10th and 11th, received a flyer in our garden, placed neatly, asking all homeowners and residents to please find a driveway or a garage or friends to put your cars off the street so our visiting guests from other areas can park. And I'm like 7-8 blocks away. So somebody went to a lot of trouble to print them out and to deliver them to every single house. And if it's on my block, it's on all the other blocks. Needless to say, I was not happy. That's it.
Barbara, did it have a person that wrote? It was an organization that sent it out? Oh, you're on mute, Barbara.
Very pretty Christmas.
Okay.
I thought it was somebody collecting gifts for some organization. No, just
okay.
Whoever you are, just get your car off the street so our visitors from the other neighborhoods can enjoy ours.
Wow.
Nice.
So did you immediately move your car into your driveway?
Immediately. I wanted to go and rent cars and bring them here.
We have another hand raised, Lori Willis.
Yes, first of all, Barbara, I would like to say, I think it was very rude of you to leave your car near your house and block other people's parking. So I just want to throw that out there. But I did want to mention that, on the Dyker Lights topic, I see now in Bay Ridge, where I live, the tour buses now coming down the streets. In the 80s, when I'm out at night walking my dog, the tour buses now also come into Bay Ridge. So we'll probably be getting flyers soon too, asking us to move our cars.
5 or 6 weeks, you can put up with it.
But it's getting bigger. But hopefully, I know that we as a board have done so much to try to keep it safe and hospitable as possible. So I'm hoping that all our efforts in conjunction with our elected officials make that happen, hopefully.
If you're not happy with your streets, come to 75th Street between 4th and 5th. You solve all the problems there. Okay? Come to see how pleasant it is to live between 4th and 5th Avenue on 75th.
I'm coming over, Stella.
All right, thank you so much. Josephine, do we have any other comments?
No, I see no other hands raised on my end.
All right, then. So now it is time for a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Okay, thank you,
Dean
Dean.
and
I'm
Jack?
sure that is seconded and all in favor. Have a beautiful holiday season.
Aye.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holidays.
Holidays, everyone.
Enjoy.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy holiday, everyone.
Peace on earth.
Yes.